Something that's very important to me and very important to a lot of bag makers that I hear often in different groups is photography. How do you take a picture of your bag to make it stand out or to make it shine? My first tip for that would be to be creative. There's nothing that stands in your way when you are creative about your space. We get creative with our purses, why not get creative with the space that we take the photos of them? This is a very, very pretty place. You don't have to come to a place like this. You can go to an ocean, you can go to your backyard, you can go to a stairwell in your house, you can go into a beautiful little vanity area that you have set up in your home, or any place that is important to you where you feel like your bag can shine. It doesn't have to be a big place like this. I myself am not a fan of white backgrounds. Those things, don't get me wrong, have their place. If you're going to sell on Amazon, if you're going to take a photograph where it has to be white, or have it in a retail store where they're expecting that perfect white stark background, that can be very beautiful as well. But I think if you're going to take a picture of your bag, it should represent you, who you are, what you want your bag to represent. Does your bag give you industrial vibes? Take pictures of your bag at a place where there's a lot of metal sitting around. Does your bag give you nature-y vibes like this? Take your picture of your bag here. Just taking your picture, just taking your bag's picture in front of a flower bed can be beautiful. You can make your bag beautiful in its own right anywhere. It doesn't have to be somewhere like this. But I chose this place because it is a very pretty place, and there's so many different backgrounds here that I can choose from to take photographs of my bag. So I decided to come here today. The other thing I wanted to share with you was the idea of creativity can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be like you sitting around giving it tons of thought as to, oh, where should I bring this today, or what does this do for me? Bring it somewhere where you're inspired. Even if you don't know if you're going to take a picture of your bag that day, bring your bag with you. Something might spark your interest along the way. I know one of my favorite photographs of one of my bags is when I brought my kids to Gatorland last May. And we ended up passing this plastic alligator, and it was like a real, 8-foot alligator, plastic on the ground. And I stuck my bag in its mouth and took a photograph of it. And I just thought, wow, this is really cool. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that if I was actually gonna sit around and try to think of where am I gonna bring this bag next. And it was one of my favorite photographs because it was just like, wow, like, let's just do this. Like, it wasn't planned. So don't think that you have to have tons of planning in place to make sure that your bag is being shown off in its best light. My next second takeaway is inspiration. You have to have inspiration to decide where you want to bring your bag. Let the surroundings, or let your surroundings, inspire where you want to go. What inspires you? I mean, it could be something simple like you really like takeout food. Bring your bag to a McDonald's. I know that sounds really silly, but like I said, some of these photographs that you take, you'll look back on it and be like, wow, like I never would have thought of that, but that's actually a really interesting choice. If you're not inspired by your work and you're not inspired by the bags that you make, then who else is gonna be inspired by them? It's kind of like you really have to believe in who you are and what you're doing and show the world that side of you. Because if you don't believe what you're doing, then other people probably aren't going to believe that you really enjoy what you're doing, or that that you are enjoying, or not that you're enjoying, but that your bags are authentically you, if that makes sense. Like, we all know that we handcraft bags, and we know that they're not, made in a department store, and that's an awesome thing that we're able to do. But on the back side of that, be interested about your bags. Like, really be one with your bag. I know that sounds weird, but like, if you're gonna bring your bag to Target and you're gonna show off that bag, and you know, if you're gonna be carting it around with your kids or whatever you're doing, that can bring inspiration too. Like, sometimes I'm carrying a bag and I'm like, oh my gosh, I carry this around every day in my day-to-day environment, and just because I'm here at a place like this doesn't mean that it has to be at a place like this. You could be in your day-to-day environment and get inspired. Things inspire me every day, and it's not always outside. Sometimes it's inside, or sometimes it's my kids. You know, if you don't have kids, sometimes it's just your other job, or, you know, something that you're interested in that brings something else to mind. Just make sure to cue in to your inspiration, and that will help guide your choice as to what to take photos of and how to take photos of your bag. Tip number 3 is be you. It's hard sometimes when people say, just be yourself. It's like, well, what is myself? Well, by be you, I just mean be you with your photos. Don't feel like you have to do something crazy and outlandish to get people to see your bags, because that's going to come through with what you make. It's going to come through with the inspiration you put into it. It's going to come through with the design you choose and all of the material that you choose. If you are someone who likes flashier, shinier bags, and you like, you know, custom zipper pulls and fun little wristlets, go for it. You don't have to have a big bag, but if you're someone who likes bigger bags and you like something that's more lacy or just different shaped, or you like a crossbody bag and this is your jam, go for it. It doesn't matter what you are. It's just be you. Be the person that you want to be when creating your bags. It doesn't matter if you decide that, hey, I am loving my deck and I want to take a photo of it there. If you try to do something that isn't you, it's not going to be an authentic you. And that is something that I have found from my experience doesn't sell well. It's important to, if you're going to sell a bag, to be able to show somebody who you truly are through your product, through what your product looks like. They're only getting that one look at it, you know, unless they're coming back to a store or they're physically talking to you about it. That is your one chance to show them how great that item is and why they should want it. And so it's very important when doing things to sell, or even just, like I said, just bag making in general and talking to the general population, or hairdressing. I do hair too, and I'm in my past years, it's important to talk to people about why they should use the products they should use. Why are they important for their hair? It's not just to sell things to them. It's about trying to get them to understand why you do what you do and educate in a way that allows them to connect with you on the same level and makes them be like, yeah, I really like that. I love the story behind that. I love what she's doing here. I love that purse because not only do I love the way it looks, but I can connect with that person behind the sale. So, words of wisdom here, be you. If above anything else, you don't hear anything else I'm saying in this video, be you. That is the most important thing. Number 4, location. Just like most realtors will tell you, location, location, location. If you don't have the right location for your work, or if you are putting your bag in an area that doesn't represent what you want it to say or what you want it to look like, then again, that resonates with the other tips. You're not being creative. You're not being you. You want to be that authentic you. So bring it to a location that you connect with. Make sure that it connects with the bag or with your product. Like if you have a kid's backpack, obviously you'd want it to be around something that has to do with kids. Maybe a park, maybe your kid's bedroom, maybe the toy aisle at Target. I know that sounds weird, but there could be so many inspirational places that you could take your products to make sure that they are giving the correct message that you want to get out there about your stuff and what your stuff means to you. Even if you're not selling and you just want to take beautiful photos of your bags to show your family or your friends or anybody what you do, then try to find a good location to take those photos that's representative of you and who you are and what you're doing for you, or what your creations are there for. My last and final tip is challenge yourself. You don't have to learn these things in a day. I know I sure as heck didn't. It's very fun to just take your bags on vacation. Take your bags to Target. That could be your vacation day. If you are just wanting to run that quick errand, take it, see what inspires you, and take a photo of it. Just stop along the road and find something cool. Just challenge yourself to find something that inspires you. All of these, like I said, sort of overlap each other, but the more you challenge yourself, the better you'll be. If you don't challenge yourself and you don't move on to that next rung of what it is that you feel you need to do to make yourself better, or even if you're already at the top of your game, just make sure that you are challenging yourself to be the best you. And all of these things don't even, they aren't even collective to just bag making, okay? These are just general guidelines even for life. But my point is, by being you and challenging yourself, you will find a way to make your bags shine. And that is the most important thing. The last thing I wanted to say about the fact that you should challenge yourself and, try to find a location and all of these other things, being creative. A lot of times when we make things as bag makers, or even just artisans in general, whether you're making pottery or whatnot, there's gonna be times where maybe that stitch wasn't quite where it should have been, or maybe, that pot didn't come together quite so well, and therefore it's a little bit curvy on this side. Sometimes it's those things that make those bags or those pottery dishes extra special. And sometimes those are the items that people will see in their store and be like, yeah, I want that. That's a unique thing that I want. I want to have that because I know there isn't another one of those things out there. So show the flaws, show the imperfections, be honest with people, because when you're honest with your consumer, or you're honest when you're giving a bag, or even if you're, like I said, if you're selling a bag or giving a bag or whatnot, those might be the little quirks that someone else is actually looking for. So just be honest when taking your photos. If there's something about it that you're like, oh, this wasn't quite right, but it's actually not just a little flaw, but it's sort of a design element, show it off. Be excited that you have this design element that's like no other. I mean, if it's massive and you need to fix it, that's one thing. But if it's a little quirk in there that's like, wow, this really showcases something interesting about my bag, there's someone out there who's gonna want that little imperfection, and it's okay. They know that you make these bags, you put your heart and soul into them, you do the best that you can, you make every single stitch count. And I know I do that with my work too. Like I said, if it's something massive, I take care of it, but I'm just saying in general that you are your best walking advertisement. Do the best that you can to make yourself shine. The 5 different things, again, are inspiration, location, 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 be you, challenge yourself, and be creative.